Hi, I'm Tinny from minibulldesign, and today I'm going to do installment number 5, I believe, of From the Beginning, a series talking about what you would need basically to run an alcohol stove and all the oddities that go along with it. So today I'm going to talk about traditional stoves. Now I have 4 different traditional stoves, and I'll tell you what each one is like and what the ins and outs of it are as much as I can. Okay, this first one is an old one. It's called the original Atomic. Okay, now this stove is made from a 12-ounce soda can. It comes with a primer wick, and the jets are in the top inside edge. It has a rivet nut and thumb screw to fill it with. Now this stove is well suited to small pots because it's a top burner, so the flame pattern is right up in the top, unlike some of the other stoves where the flame pattern is on the side. And it also is a high volume stove. If you put a couple ounces of alcohol in this, it'll burn for a half an hour. So it's well suited to bigger pots that want to cook for a long time. It also is well suited to small pots because it has a narrow flame pattern. Now this also comes, this is an original, which is just hollow inside. It also comes in carbon felt, which means it has a piece of carbon felt inside of it which soaks up the alcohol. It doesn't really affect the burn, but if you tip the stove over, the alcohol won't run out and start a fire because the carbon felt will hang on to it like a sponge. Now this stove has to have a pot stand. It requires a pot stand, and the only pot stand I sell that will work with it is the 5x23. This is a 5x18, and although it'll press down over and hit on the wick, and you could use it that way, it's not really a big enough pot stand. Okay, next would be the baby brother of the Atomic, which is a mini Atomic. Everything's basically the same. The jets are on the inside, flame pattern's about the same size, has a rivet nut and thumb screw to fill it with, has wick to prime it with, and burns probably 12 minutes max, maybe a little bit longer depending on the situation. And this comes in original and carbon felt for the same reason. This is a very popular stove, and a lot of solo backpackers carry this just because it's so light and so simple. Okay, next we have the old standby. This is BIOS 4. This is the one that's designed to be a little more efficient than the BIOS 1. It has the jets on the side, so it's a side burner. It doesn't work well with small pots. I'd want at least a 4-inch pot with this, maybe a little bigger, because the flame pattern comes out and will go up the side of anything smaller than that. Doesn't work with beer cans. Has a really generous primer wick and a very small set of jets, which does keep the flame pattern a little smaller than the BIOS 1. And it burns a little less alcohol, a little less heat also. And this will hold probably a couple ounces of fuel. Doesn't require a pot stand. And these little bumps on the top hold the pot just up off of the stove so it can't make a solid contact with the body if you've got a cold pot and suck all the heat out of the stove and make it go out. These little points keep the pot just off of the stove so it can't pull the heat out. Okay, I think that's everything with that one. And then we have the BIOS Micro, which is basically the same stove with large jets, smaller flame pattern because it is a smaller stove, still a side burner, has a primer wick, has the bumps in the top. Now I want to take a moment to talk about this primer wick. This is a fiberglass primer wick that I install and bond it right to the stove. It's not removable. People ask how long it'll last. Well, I've never worn one out, so if you use the stove every day, it'll probably last for 2 or 3 years anyway. So it's basically you'll never have to change it. And what this does is you tilt it up on the side, pour alcohol on it, and it soaks up the alcohol. Fill your stove and light it, and while it's burning off the alcohol, it will heat the stove up and make it blossom. I don't care if it's 50 below zero. If you prime this and light it, the stove will blossom out and burn. Doesn't matter how cold it is. If you don't have the primer wick and it's cold, you have to light the alcohol on the top of the stove, and It may blossom after a minute in warm weather, 3 minutes in really cold weather, and if it's really, really cold and a little windy, it may not blossom at all. Now, this stove also doesn't require a pot stand. I also want to say that the Mini Atomic does require a pot stand, and it will work with a 5x18 quite nicely. That's basically everything I wanted to say about these. All these stoves share the same thing. There's no simmer with them. You fill them with alcohol, take the thumb screw out, pour the alcohol in there, and once you've got the correct amount in, you put the thumb screw back in and tighten it up. Make sure your wick is wet, light it, and it burns. It burns at one speed all the time. There's no simmer. It's simply made for boiling water or cooking with no simmer. It's no good for baking. It's too hot, really. I may have to take that back. I think it would work okay for baking, but it's a little hotter than it needs to be. You're better off with a wick stove for baking, something you can control the heat a little bit better with. But this is a very good, very lightweight, very simple, good place for a beginner to start. This and a good windscreen, a pot stand will do anything you need to do for your basic cooking. So, I'm Tinny from minibulldesign. Get out and hike, take a friend. Enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to have a really great day. Try to get out and have some fun today. Bye-bye.